I think everybody already know me, so I'm gonna skip this part. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So actually, I need to speak Chinese. I almost forgot. 那还是一样跟大家讲一下免责声明，就是我们今天邀请到一个非常非常厉害的健身教练，然后来跟我们讨论一些关于健康还有健身的一些东西。那一样这个免责声明，希望大家看一下，就是如果你们要做任何的东西，一定要记得先问医生。然后这个是我们8周的这个顺序，然后上个礼拜其实已经讲过了，然后这个礼拜这一周就是会专门在讲关于健康还有运动。那我自己就是在我们正式开始之前，想要稍微大概讲一下，就是我自己觉得我在健身跟运动还有饮食的追求的时候遇到的一些问题大概是什么。那我觉得女生还有男生。我觉得我们会遇到的问题有一点不太一样。我觉得大部分的男生是会蛮 focus 在肌肉的这个养成，但是我觉得女生就比较容易会陷入一个体态焦虑啊，然后跟会害怕长肌肉啊，然后比较会有一些荷尔蒙失调的问题。所以我就是想跟大家讲说，其实你遇到的这些问题，像我现在这个PPT 上面讲的饮食失调，饮食失调是就是类似说你可能过度的限制你自己，然后导致你很容易在压力大的时候暴饮暴食。好，这个饮食失调，或者是说你对于吃一些东西你就罪恶感很严重。那如果你有这些状况的话，其实都要小心一下，去注意不要过度的饮食失调，或者是太害怕吃不健康的食物，或者是太害怕呃暴饮暴食，或者是太害怕过度进食之类的。就是其实吃东西它应该是要一件快乐的事情，这样子。对。所以我觉得，不管是做什么事情，其实它都有一方面的专家，像饮食失调，他们也就是都会有一些专门讲这方面的东西的一些专业的人士。所以，如果你发现说你真的过度失衡的时候，就记得一定要去找专家稍微聊一下。那体态焦虑，我觉得我会特别想要分享一下，是因为我觉得我刚开始在做健身跟运动的时候，是我刚生完小孩。然后我就会很想要赶快恢复少女的身材啊，所以那时候就是你会过度的体态焦虑，然后你就会觉得说运动都只是为了瘦，然后只是为了漂亮。可是其实我们运动跟饮食其实不是只是为了漂亮。跟就是好看等等的，其实是为了我们自己的身体健康。那除了身体健康，还有就是我们大脑的健康，还有情绪的健康。那所以就是说，如果你可以稍微转换一下你的 focus，不要只是专注在体态的时候，你就比较不容易因为说啊我没瘦，那我不想运动了。就是如果你一直只专注在体态，你就会很容易就受挫，然后就不想做了。可是如果你专注在，诶，我这个礼拜有运动3次，虽然我没瘦，可是我身体很健康，我的大脑很健康，那这样子的话，你就比较不容易就是会觉得说哦没有效果，我就不想做了。那运动伤害的话，我觉得大部分的人做有氧运动的时候，比较不容易受伤，但是如果做重训的时候就很容易受伤。那所以当初我第一次找到 Chris 的时候，我也是很怕运动伤害。可是后来我发现，如果你是跟专门专业的人学，就比较不容易运动伤害。所以像我以前很常看那种 YouTube 的连结，在那边自己做重训，就很常受伤。那后来跟 Chris 学过之后，我现在就很少因为重训受伤，所以我就觉得这个跟专业学还是有差的。那纪律跟放松的这个 balance 平衡也很重要。我觉得就是你自己做的时候，因为你没有那个经验，好，就比如说，如果你有一群朋友，或者是一群比较专业的人一起在跟你聊这些东西的时候，其实你就会知道说，哦，原来到某个阶段会太压力啊，干嘛什么的，你就会去有一些方法找那个平衡。对，那压力管理啊，荷尔蒙失调，或是有时候有一段时间我们可能会失去动力。好，这些都还蛮常见的。那还有就是，我自己以前也会很害怕女生，就是 练太多肌肉。有一段时间我也是很害怕说啊，这样会看起来太壮了。但是后来我就发现，女生超过一定的岁数，如果你身体没有肌肉，你到最后变成肌少症，其实那已经不是好看不好看的问题，而是对身体就是很不健康。你可能老了以后也会很容易骨折啊。好，所以人的这个肌肉的保留是很重要的。那肌肉的保留不是只是重训而已，还有包括你怎么吃东西，你有没有吃对营养等等的。然后还有就是，如果没有吃对营养，你常常都是吃不健康的东西，好，不是说我们完全不能吃不健康的东西，而是说，那你平常没有吃一些对大脑有营养性的东西的时候，你的大脑就没有办法产生足够的血清素，让你的情绪会变好。所以其实这些都很重要。那包含像血糖的东西。其实有很多市面上的一些专业的医生，他们会在谈怎么控制血糖，那些我都建议大家有空的时候也都是可以去看的。对，然后对这边刚刚体态焦虑这边有大概提过一下，然后另外就是今天 Chris 他也会稍微带过一下，就是说像他们这样子很认真在做这个健康，好健康的这些生活状态啊，他们的心理，好他们的想法是怎么样做的，然后对他们有什么好处。哦，那这边的部分我待会就让 Chris 来跟大家讲。那我觉得很重要的就是，你要做任何事情，一定要找到已经有它的成效的那些人来传授你这些技巧。然后，因为如果你是自己想办法的话，其实真的很难。然后这个的话，就是我的同事江菜，还有我的同事 DK，他们跟 Chris 就是练身体，包含饮食啊，然后呃健身等等的这些，他们的成效真的很夸张。我那时候也是看到他们的成效，我就觉得哇，我也要去报名。所以这是我，就是我去报名了的时候，就是就随便乱吃。我那时候大多数是做有氧运动，对，然后就是也还蛮常压力性饮食，就会乱吃。然后后来跟 Chris 做了之后，练了一身肌肉，对，大概是这样。好，那我们就欢迎我们的那个非常厉害的那个健身教练 Chris。Welcome, Chris。
Thank you so much. I didn't understand everything you said, but it all sounded positive.
Okay.
So,
I will change my screen to just share the screen without me. So this, I don't know if I share a screen, will people
hi,
able to
Annie.
see you?
Yep, got it.
Okay.
So right now it looks like it's just me on the screen.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the introduction and sharing your story and sharing stories of some other people that maybe some of the people on this call are familiar with, John Sai, DK, some other success stories. So it's just, it's really nice when you have some experience and some people who have been on this journey of health and wellness and have found such an amazing success with that, and that they are really inspired to want to share this with other people and teach other people ways to think, act, be, and do around health. Just to back up a little bit and give you a little bit of context about myself, I'm 49 years old. I've been in the health and wellness space for over 30 years. So this is something that's just been insanely passionate for me, and really what took me on this journey to fall in love with health started as two different events in my life. The first event, I was 16 years old. I was misdiagnosed with childhood leukemia. And fortunately, it was only a couple days that they had made the misdiagnosis. They misread some blood work. And it was a moment where, I was scared for my life. And that really taught me at that time, at a young age, facing my mortality, it made me really think about how important my health was. I grew up playing hockey. Hockey was my sport. I had always kind of planned to go and play professional hockey at some point. So I was always in really good shape. But when I got that misdiagnosis, it made me realize, you could be in great physical shape, fit wise, but also maybe not be in great health. And that's, those are two different things. So that was the first thing that sort of woke me up at 16 years old to think about taking my health more seriously. And then the second event, like I said, I played hockey. Sports was always part of my life. Going from playing high school hockey into college, I played Division I college hockey. I was having some trouble playing with guys who were a lot older, right? At that stage, you're playing with men versus boys, And so my coach told me after my freshman year, if I didn't come back and put on some more muscle, that I wasn't going to have a chance to play the following year because I was just struggling too much. So that summer I went home and I put on 30 pounds of muscle in almost 3 months. I took the gym very seriously. I took my nutrition very seriously. I took supplements very seriously. I took sleep very seriously. So at that time in my life, I was really empowered by learning how easily I could manipulate my body if I just apply the science and follow the right process and the right steps. So those two events were really critical turning points for me in my life in terms of me falling in love with that process of health and fitness and just taking my health very seriously, but also taking fitness very seriously and having fun with being able to change and translate those changes within my body. And going through sports, eventually I graduated college. I thought I was going to go in, maybe go semi-pro or try to take that path, but I ended up not taking that direction. It wasn't the right fit for me. I was good, but I wasn't that good. And I started to move into business, and entrepreneurship became really attractive to me. Starting my own businesses, working for other companies, but when I was making that transition, I started to think to myself, the same way I approach athletics, meaning the way I eat, the way I train, the way I take my supplements, the way I sleep, all the recovery techniques, how I do that for my sport is no different than how I should be doing that in my business and in my work. So I started to think of myself as a business athlete, and I started to think that business was my sport. So just like sports in general, or just like real estate agents, or just like other entrepreneurs, if you expect to show up and perform at a high level, then you have to make sure that the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you exercise, the way you recover is also commensurate or in alignment with how you want to show up in business. You can't expect to skip meals all day long and ride on just drinking coffee and caffeine all day long to get that synthetic form of energy. You can't expect to not work out and strengthen your body and move your body and be fit and healthy. You can't expect to get only 2 to 3 hours of sleep every single night and think that you're going to show up and perform at your absolute best in work. If you want great outcomes in work and in your business, you have to show up like an athlete and treat it as if you were an athlete, and business is your sport. So I really have found that there are 5 key principles that I believe align and collaborate with bridging the gap of athletics to entrepreneurship. And so I'm going to talk about those 5 different key principles, because the idea is that we're trying to make performance a lifestyle and part of your DNA, not just a moment in time, right? And so if you want excellent performance, you've got to show up in these different areas for yourself in terms of health and wellness. And so here are the 5 top principles that I believe that are successful for a business athlete. Number 1, discipline beats motivation, both in the gym and in the boardroom. Showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it, is what separates some success from failure. So you must be showing up consistently, even if you don't feel like it. And that happens whether you're going to the gym. Sometimes you just don't have the energy, but you still got to show up and just put in the time, put in the effort. Same thing with work. There's plenty of times you may not feel like making those phone calls or following up with certain clients, but even when you're not feeling like it, you still got to show up and deliver. Number 2, recovery is non-negotiable. Whether it's recovering after a tough game or a high-stakes meeting, proper sleep, nutrition, and stress management, these are the things that help keep you performing at your absolute best. You must respect recovery. Number 3, the power of a playbook. Athletes rely on game plans. Entrepreneurs need systems. Having a structured approach to your day is what makes the chaos more manageable. You must have systems in place. Otherwise, when things start to drop on your plate throughout the day, which especially in real estate happens all the time, unexpected drama from clients or things that are happening out there in the market, in the industry, things are changing and shifting at a moment's notice. If you don't have structure applied to your day and something drops on your plate that requires some immediate urgency, your day will just fall apart, loaded with being overwhelmed and stressed and anxious, So having that structured approach and having that playbook is really helpful. Number 4, adaptability is key. And this goes along with the power of a playbook because no game or business strategy survives unchanged. You have to learn how to be flexible and pivot under pressure because that's where resilience is truly built. Just like we talked about having that playbook, if you have the playbook and the structure in place, when something drops on your lap, you can learn how to pivot on the fly very quickly without skipping a beat, without adding any extra stress or chaos to your day. And number 5, the last one, your team matters on the field and in business. You're only as strong as the people you surround yourself with, so you better make sure you choose teammates that help elevate your performance. Very, very important. I see this all the time with entrepreneurs, especially with real estate agents. You know, having a really good team of people around you, maybe you're not great at social media and you might not have the time and energy and effort to try to dive in and learn social media. So it might be better to hire a coach or hire somebody, a specialist as part of your team who can run that aspect of your business. You know, you might not be as proficient in understanding health, nutrition, and fitness. So you hire a coach to help outsource that and teach you and run this for you. You know, with all the entrepreneurs that I've worked with, I would say the biggest blind spot that I see is that they fail to recognize that the number one in revenue generating investment you can make is investing in your health and wellness because it magnifies your skill sets and it provides a mental bandwidth that you can reallocate back into driving your business and your quality of life. And what I mean by that is that if you're facing some sort of health crisis, if you're not feeling well, if you're riddled with anxiety, if you're not able to manage stress well, all of these things consume a lot of time and effort and energy in your mind. And so therefore, it takes time away from you being able to put more into your business, deliver more value to your clients, be more present with your family when you're trying to have personal time, because you're more concerned and worried about your health and you're trying to figure out how to get things back on track or how to fix things or how to resolve it. You find yourself on Google or ChatGPT and just running in circles trying to solve all these problems to get yourself back to feeling better. But when you're feeling amazing, when you have routines and habits with your health and wellness and you're locked in and you wake up every single day feeling great, you're not spending any time worrying about, am I sick? Is something wrong? How do I fix this? Why do I feel this way? You have all of this extra space and bandwidth to allocate towards just putting full guns blazed on your business, full effort with your clients and tons of value for your clients that you can pour into. And then when you're with your family, you're spending present quality time with them. Really, really important. I think that's such a blind spot for a lot of entrepreneurs. So think about that being the number one investment that you can make. And with that investment, there are 3 main drivers that help you protect that investment. The first driver is mastering the art of saying no. With too many entrepreneurs that I work with, what I find where they start to struggle when it comes to their health and wellness is that they're over leveraging their time. They're not saying no to enough things. They're stacking too many things on their plate. So therefore, it's very easy and convenient for you to put your own needs and your own health off to the side because you simply just don't have time. And it's a convenient excuse to fall back on. But that's just like putting your car in 5th gear and slamming on the gas and never taking your foot off the gas. When you do that, there's literally only 2 outcomes. 1, you either run out of gas, or 2, you crash into something. If you're going all gas and no brake, you're leaving yourself no option for a positive outcome. So you really got to think about weighing those decisions of what's important, what's not important. Does this move the needle in my goals in terms of what I'm about to say yes or no to? And if something moves the needle towards your goals, whether it's personal, with your health, with your business, with your family, it's a yes. But if it doesn't move the needle in the categories that are important to you in terms of your goals that you've set, then it should be an automatic no, because it just doesn't have a place right now in your life, because you're going to over leverage yourself and not have time to pour into the areas that you're saying are important. The second driver is knowing what you stand for. Most people don't have a high enough set of standards or even know what they stand for. And that's also called integrity. I see this quite often, especially when people come into my program, that they just haven't been firm enough with setting high standards that they hold themselves to. And so when you don't do that, then you start to find yourself giving in and caving for all sorts of things that don't match who you say you are or who you say you want to be. But when you set a high standard, this helps you develop a set of standards that becomes your identifier. It's how you see yourself and it's how others see you. And you want to make sure that you're better known for what you stand for and make sure that it's aligned with what you say you want. So when people think about Amy Kuo, they're thinking about somebody that's trustworthy, somebody who's reliable, somebody who's accountable, somebody who always shows up no matter what. They never miss a meeting. They're always on time. These are a set of standards that have been set high that you hold for yourself and that other people have also identified as this is who you are. But when it comes to your health and when it comes to making an investment in your health, it's oftentimes easy for people to lower their standards and they start to fall out of alignment with integrity because they're not showing up and holding themselves accountable to that set of standards. But what you do in the dark is just important as what you do in the light. How you show up for yourself, even in those private moments, and the standards that you set yourself up for are just as important as how you're allowing other people to see you out in the world. So knowing what you stand for and holding yourself to a high standard, absolutely a critical driver for driving this investment of health and wellness. And then the last one is making unbreakable agreements with yourself. It kind of goes along with a set of standards, but these things have to be set firm and have really firm boundaries. When people come into my program, I make them sign contracts, and these contracts basically set the agreement that we are going into business together. And as we go into business together, we're going to form an LLC, and the LLC is the client. And so therefore, you are making me the CEO of the organization, and I'm making you the chief operating officer. And I take care of the big vision, and your job is to go out and execute. And those agreements are set pretty firm. And part of the reason why I get such great results with my clients is because I'm helping you develop a set of standards and holding you to a set of standards with lots of layers of accountability to help you start to realize your potential and start showing up in a way that you can feel really proud about. And then you start to see the results unfold in terms of how you look, in terms of how you feel, in terms of how you function. You start to see your business level up. You start to see your self-talk and self-esteem level up. You start to see relationships with your family and friends level up. It's this massive level up because you've made this unbreakable agreement that you've held a high standard for and that you're showing up for day in and day out where it's absolutely unbreakable. And that is how you ultimately fall in love with the process of becoming great. And what I have found in order for most people to become successful in terms of cracking that code of getting to that next level of their health and wellness is that you can't look at health and wellness as this short-term thing that I'm going to do. You've got to find a way to fall in love with this process of becoming great and becoming extremely healthy and understanding the value that it has in your life, because you will either pay for your health or you will pay for your illness at some point. And for most people, we would much rather, if they were given the option, would much rather pay for their health. But sometimes we get a little sidetracked and we lose sight of things, and you can find yourself in a situation where you're reacting to a health crisis, at which point then you become interested in wanting to invest in your health. So if I have an opportunity to meet with people like this on a platform here, or if I get an opportunity to work with clients one-on-one, it's always my goal and my hope to try to get people to think more proactively about their health and give them as many resources and as much information as possible so that you feel empowered to know what to do to get your health in a great position so you can have a high quality of life and really truly thrive both in your personal life and both in your business. So I could talk about this stuff for hours. I could go on, but quite frankly, I really enjoy most being able to engage with you guys. I want to find out what's on your mind. I want to get more of a sense of any questions or confusion or struggles that you might be having. And so what we'd like to do now is really turn this over into a Q&A. If anybody's interested in wanting to possibly work together in the program, you can feel free to reach out via email. Amy, you might be presenting my contact information somewhere in this forum, or send out an email. And, if at the very least, if you caught one thing in this seminar that caught your attention, and it's something simple that you can try to change or implement into your life, just give it a shot and try it for a month and see how things go. Just one small thing. There's a lot of things you can be doing for your health, and it can get overwhelming if you try to do too much all at once. So just pick one thing. If there's one thing that really caught your attention, just pick one thing and try to focus on making that change for a month, to give yourself a chance to get some evidence of how you might feel differently and how this could improve the quality of your life. Once you gain some evidence of something changing, that's what starts to build these habits and so help you start to move forward in building better health and wellness.
Yeah, I'm gonna translate this later. 等一下我会多留10分钟再跟大家讲一下，但是我想让 Chris 先走了。Do you want to tell people who are in United States or who can speak English about your program? So they know. I will give them your contact later. I will stay in the Zoom for 10 more minutes. But do you want to tell them the cost of your program, and then what do you do during your program?
Yeah, so if when a client comes into the program, I run the program in 3-month phases. So you come in on a 3-month retainer. It's $4,500 for 3 months. And when you're in the program, I'm gonna design your meal plan. I'm gonna design your training program. I'm gonna design a supplement regimen for you. And then there's gonna be lots of different accountability coaching in terms of teaching you about nutrition, teaching you about supplementation, teaching you about form and technique. I have 2 different apps that I use in my program, where one app is you have your own user profile. All the workouts are programmed into the app. I custom design and build every single workout. So when you check in for the workouts, it sends me a notification. There's exercise links to videos for exercises, so you know exactly how to perform the exercise. There's instructions of how many sets, how many reps, how much rest period in between each set. So there's lots of information there that's stored in that piece. And then also too, I do a form app where you self-record doing exercises and you import those exercises into the app, and I screen record my notes onto your video so you can learn how to perform these exercises with better mechanics that help keep you safe from injury, but also help improve and accelerate the performance in terms of how your body looks and feels. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coaching involved. Most people generally come into the program for, a year or so inside the program. It's not typically somebody coming in for just 3 months, because we're really working on building this as a lifestyle and long term. But of course, people can come into the program for as long as they feel they need to. And there's lots of coaching and lots of education along the way. The goal is I'm trying to teach you a lifestyle. I'm trying to teach you how to think like somebody who cares a lot about their health and fitness. And I'm trying to teach you how you need to be thinking if you want to build this as a long-term lifestyle for yourself. It's not, these things are not easy and automatic. And so there's a level of just training and coaching that teaches you how to get organized and how to be prepared and how to just think ahead and plan and just really set your life up for success. So lots to coach on and share and teach and build inside of your lifestyle. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. This is great.
Okay, so I will stay here, talk to them a little bit, and then thank you for today.
Okay, guys, thank you. Have a great night.
Bye, Chris.